Hi everyone, this is Allison Kurak. Welcome back to my channel. I'm excited about today's video. If you've been watching any of my videos the past few months, I've been asking for comments. Any questions you want to ask me, I try to reply to as many of them as I can, but I also really wanted to kind of go deeper and go over them in a video in one place so everyone can see them. I got lots of great questions, so I think I'm going to do a two-parter for this video. But if you don't hear any of your questions answered, or there's anything else you think of on this video or the next one, comment down below and I can make a part 3, part 4, or we can definitely do this again down the line because I love hearing you guys' feedback and answering your questions. Okay, so before we dive in, if you're enjoying my content, please be sure to like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss part 2 of this video or any other content I have coming up. Okay, so I've got my list of questions here that you guys commented on my videos and asked. So I'm just going to dive in of going through them one by one and answering that. Okay, so question number 1 is, can you tell me what software you use? This is absolutely my most asked question I ever get. To answer it, I'm currently using Open to Close right now. I've also used Transact.ly's software in the past, and I also really like Paperless Pipeline. So what am I currently using is Open to Close, but those are some other platforms that I've worked with that I think are great options. So there you have it. Okay, number 2. When doing paperwork for agents, do you always ask for access to their personal firms, dashboards, zip forms, etc.? The answer is yes. So you're just always going to need access probably to whatever system the agent is using to really be able to work efficiently. Lots of firms have their own systems now. I know like Back Agent customizes now to a lot of brokerages, which is pretty neat. Or like Keller Williams has KW Command. Lots of systems have their own system within a system, if that makes sense. So like, I know Transaction Desk, like you could have an account, but for a while JPAR, at least in my area, was using that, but it was their own version. So if you just had a random account you signed up for, it wouldn't really work. Same thing with zip forms. I know people do customized zip forms, and then like Back Agent, like I said. So you're going to need access to whatever system they're particularly using. A lot of times, if it's brokerage specific, they can make you your own account, or you could be added as an assistant, or some systems you can just use the agent's login for access. So this is a definite yes. And I go over in my onboarding call video. This is definitely something you want to go over in the onboarding call with the agent is, what systems are you using? That way you can figure out exactly what you're going to need access to. But, I do have my own just like Dotloop and DocuSign account for random items I may need, but it's really not efficient for working on a transaction. So you're going to need access to their stuff. Okay, number 3. On top of your task checklist, you also use a spreadsheet. And there's a sub question which says, what items do you put on the spreadsheet for quick glance info? So the answer to this is no. I'm a big proponent for me is having everything in one place. So just on my checklist, I'm going to do another email diving deeper on email, but I don't even like to have a bunch of stuff sitting in my email like to do, like move it over to the checklist. Like keeping everything in one spot, I feel like really helps minimize feeling overwhelmed or disorganized. So if you have a good software you're using, and like all the ones I mentioned, Open to Close, Paperless Pipeline, Transact.ly, they usually have ways for you kind of do a quick glance on the transaction dashboard or like upcoming key dates and deadlines. So there's kind of good places for you to be able to quickly glance within a lot of these applications. So I don't really find a need for a separate spreadsheet. I think it would just be more work and maybe more confusing. So if you find yourself needing that, maybe look into a different software, or if you're using one of these softwares and you can't find it, leave me a question below and I'll try to help you. Okay, number 4, curious if you task batch or work per file. So I do have a video that dives deeper into this about time blocking. I personally, most of the time, prefer to batch my work by task type. So for example, this morning I have some closings today. We did a bunch of final walkthroughs yesterday, so I sent all those forms out at once. Just keeping my mindset in the right the same track, if that makes sense. So I definitely understand the appeal of working per file because you can have everything open at one time and not have to go back and forth or like et cetera, et cetera. But I think when you're really kind of just maybe first thing in the morning, especially sending out like a bunch of bulk communication or checking on a bunch of the same things, or even maybe in a slower time, like working on a bunch of compliance paperwork at one time, trying to get ahead or review contracts or whatever it may be, I feel like those are different kind of uses of your brain. So like sending a quick email, following up an appraisal, and then reviewing a contract, that's kind of like firing different cylinders in my brain, if that makes sense. So to me, it's like, okay, let me focus on sending out a bunch of quick emails, and then maybe I'll focus on something a little more time consuming or something I have to focus a little bit more or whatever. So I prefer to batch by task type. I've also shared in my video, you can search on a lot of these platforms, like on Open to Close. I'll just search the keyword, appraisal or financing or money if I'm following up on earnest money, and I can just check on all those at once and keep it really clear. So that's personally how I prefer to work. I know Profile is very popular though. So I think I also mentioned in the video I dive deeper in, Profile, sometimes you can just start working on so much for this file that's maybe not actually a high priority, and then maybe you accidentally missed something that was a high priority because you were focused so much on a couple particular files. So, okay, do you carry any insurance, or is it even available for things like if you miss something or a deal cancels, or a client loses their deposit or something you missed? How would that be handled? So all the specifics are going to be depending on the insurance policy, but absolutely, there's errors and omissions E&O insurance, there's general liability insurance, so definitely something you can look into. Ask an insurance agent or broker. A lot of them can refer you to them or do some research online, but those options are definitely available. Okay, number 6, do you use contracts with each brokerage? I'm assuming this person means like a customer service agreement, like a contract between myself and the agent or the brokerage. If that is the case, absolutely yes. If that's not the case, comment below what you were meaning so I can try to answer your question better. But definitely want to have something in writing, some type of agreement written up about, your responsibilities, about some of the formalities, about payment, all kinds of different things. So definitely want to have a contract for your services with each client. If you're doing it mainly with a big brokerage, I would probably say still per client. It depends how the agreement's set up though, and what your relationship is and what you guys have decided. But I would definitely advise having some type of contract in writing with your clients. Okay, number 7. Do you save your email templates in Gmail, or do you prefer to save them somewhere else? So I like having some email templates in Gmail, maybe like your absolute main go-tos, but the majority of them I store, including those, somewhere else. So the main reason for this is, I believe, and educate me please in the comments if this is incorrect, but I think there's a limit on how many you can have in Gmail at a time. So if you use a ton and they're really specified or something, just running out of room is a reason to store them somewhere else. But also because in most of the platforms, TC softwares, you can create email templates that autofill with some of the contract information. So example, it's automatically pulling in the buyer name, it's automatically pulling in the address. That's not a feature in Gmail. If you're just doing everything on your own, maybe there's a benefit to having them in Gmail versus having to copy and paste them from somewhere else. But a lot of the platforms, you can integrate your email with Gmail, and you can also have templates that auto-populate, which is the main time saver, or really takes your templates to the next level when you can have the details auto-inputted. So personally, no, I don't save any of them in Gmail. Okay, I think I'm going to end here today because I've been filming for almost 10 minutes. So last question for today is going to be number 8. Do you stick to a certain schedule, certain working hours and dates? Yes, and I made a video recently about keeping working boundaries because I know it can be hard when we're working with agents and they're working all the time. I personally keep pretty traditional business hours of Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, no federal holidays, and so obviously no weekends either. So that really works for me. A lot of title companies and lenders follow pretty similar hours here in Texas, so we're all kind of on at the same time. If I was doing a lot of work on a weekend, I really probably couldn't get that much accomplished outside of things with the agent or catch-up work for myself, like compliance. But that usually isn't reviewed till Monday to Friday either. So yes, I stick to that schedule. It really helps with the work-life balance, and I find the agents are really respectful of it most of the time. But like I said, I have another video on that, diving deeper. Okay, and like I said, I think we're at about 10 minutes. I don't want to make this video too long, so I am going to stop there for today. Keep an eye out for part 2, and if I didn't answer your question, even before we post part 2, go ahead and drop it in the comments, and we can do as many parts as we want. I want to answer you guys' questions as much as possible. So thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you're looking forward to part 2, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks everyone. I hope you guys have a great day.